was kind of nervous up here. I told Brother Andrew, and he just says, liberty. I'm like, why did you say that? Because and I pointed to what I had written in my notes here, and this is the verse that I had written. It says, "Stand fast, therefore, in the liberty wherewith Christ has made us free, and be not entangled again with the yoke of bondage." And this was the verse that came to me when I was thinking about just a few testimonies to share. And there's just so many things in life that we can get entangled with that start to limit our ability to serve God. And if we're not really conscious about it, we can just start going down a path, and then all of a sudden we realize, like, what happened to my relationship with God? Where did that go? And so just to back up a little, I think that what I thought is, maybe I'll just share. You know, I'm getting pretty old now. I'm almost 29, and I'm looking at these young people here. I'm like, these guys, if I could go back and be like their age, there's so many things I would do differently. There's so many things that I'm like, why did it take me so long to figure these lessons out, that I feel like are really fundamental things that would have just changed some of the decisions I've made in my life. And so when my kind of testimony of Christ started when I was probably around in high school as a teenager, and I started going to vacation Bible schools on the San Carlos Reservation every summer. And I'll be honest, when I first started going, I was kind of uncomfortable. I was like, there's a lot of that's on the Apache Reservation nearby where I live, and I was like, the people here, they have a different culture. They live differently than me. They look different than me, and I didn't know how to interact with them. I was kind of used to being in school, and I thought I just saw the people around me who were just focused on, you got to be cool, you got to you have to know all the funny jokes, you got to know all the TV shows, you have to know who all the popular pop stars are, and like what the drama is in their life and stuff. And I went to San Carlos, and I noticed the people who went there to serve the Apache people, they were just completely different. They didn't care at all what other people thought about them. They loved on these people where I didn't know how to interact because I was like, what am I doing here? They had this love for these children, brothers and sisters that I looked up to, and I was like, that is so different. All these people I see at school are chasing all these things, and they don't care about any of that. They just want to serve God. They're using their liberty. They're using their free time and their summers to go drive and be uncomfortable in the middle of the desert in Arizona. It's 120 degrees, and they're just loving on these kids. And I thought, that is something that's different. I didn't know it at the time, but they were showing me what the fruits of the Spirit of God are. And I thought, you know what? That's how I want to be. I want to be like that. I don't want to get tied up with all the things that everyone else starts chasing all the time. So I kept going back every year, but as time went on, I kind of lost that vision a little bit. And I started to get worried about the things that people get worried about. What career will make me the most successful? What career will make me the most wealthy? What are the shows everyone's talking about? What kind of car do I need to buy? Where do I want to live so that I'll kind of be cool and everyone will think I'm like elite or something? No one really cares that much about it. Seems like silly things. And I started to get myself tied up in situations that took away my liberty without really realizing it. I got in a career that it's a good career, but for me it wasn't I don't think it was where the Lord was directing me, and where it was consuming all my life. I didn't have any time. I felt like I was working every evening, every weekend, and I didn't have time for God. My relationship with God was dwindling, and I got even just a few years ago, I decided I was going to get a roommate to save some money, and I found some guy on the internet, and I was talking to him on the phone. And I was like, I want to charge all this money. He's like, oh yeah, I'll pay that. I was like, awesome, sweet. And then he kind of said some things where I got this feeling in my gut, like, I don't think this is right for me spiritually. I don't think this is a person who I should have living with me in my home. But I thought, nah, it's probably fine. It's fine. I want to get that money. I don't want to be patient, And so I thought, I can handle this. I'm just going to go forward. And it was a lot like, if you ever read the story of Zenith You ever read this guy in the Book of Mormon and the Book of Mosiah? He was this guy. He was really excited to go take this land that his forefathers had. And he says, in Mosiah 9:3, he says, I, being overzealous, like way too enthusiastic, just like gung-ho, to inherit the land of our fathers, collected as many as were desirous to go up to possess this land, and started again on our journey into the wilderness to go up to the land. But we were smitten with famine and sore afflictions, for we were slow to remember the Lord our God. And I feel like for a long time in my life, I was just overzealous of, here's an opportunity, I'm just going to go for it, because why not? It sounds cool, it makes sense to me. And I didn't really... there's scriptures that say, like, counsel with the Lord and things. I was like, yeah, of course, I'll pray, sure. But not really realizing that God wants to direct our life. He wants to, like Sister Kenya said, even though we're so small, it says in Alma 37:37, counsel with the Lord in all thy doings, and he will direct thee for good. He will direct you if you believe that he will, and if you counsel with him. And with my roommate situation, I thought, oh, I'm going to get all this money. It'll be awesome. Well, I don't want to speak ill of him, but it wasn't the greatest situation. I just felt like it was something where I lived so close to church, I couldn't have young people over. I couldn't talk about the things of God, the things he talked about, the things he brought into my home. I just felt like I dreaded going home, and it was like putting this distance between me and God, and I got myself entangled in this situation just because I thought, well, why not? The opportunity is there, without really listening to the Lord. After 18 months of living with this guy, and my poor family had to hear many complaints from me, I finally God started to show me, look what you got yourself into, because I hadn't counseled with the Lord, because I ignored that feeling that this wasn't the right thing spiritually. And I finally prayed. I said, God, I got myself in this mess. I feel bad for this guy. He says I'm the best roommate he's ever had. But I don't want to kick him out, but this is completely my fault. I brought this on myself. God, if you could, please have mercy on me, even though I don't deserve it a little bit. Could you somehow get him out of my house without me having to be a jerk, I prayed that with all the sincerity of my heart. About 2 or 3 days later, he's like, Jared, I need to save some money. I'm going to move back in with my parents. I was like, I didn't say it. I was like, oh, okay, I understand. But I was like, but it showed me that God, he wants, even though I didn't deserve even the slightest bit of God's mercy, when we turn to him, he's like right there. He wants to direct your path. He wants to have that relationship with you. He wants to direct you for the good things in your life. And I want to thank God, because since that time, since he moved out, now I've had many saints who are coming to town, or who are able to stay at my home. I prayed about some new roommates, and a couple brothers from church have been living with me for a few months, which is a blessing. And it was like, okay, I don't make as much money as from this guy, but I don't even care, because money is so worthless in the grand scheme of everything. A short testimony, when a few years ago, I felt that God was directing me to get involved with the podcast for the church. And right around that time, I also wanted to get more involved in my job and start taking more classes, because I wanted to get a promotion. And I knew I needed to get some credentials for that. And I started taking some classes, and I kind of realized, man, this is really taking up a lot of my time. I kind of got entangled in another thing that's taking up a lot of my time, because it's just like the opportunity is there, so I just went for it, right? And so I realized, I prayed about it. God called me to do this podcast, so I decided I'm going to drop out of my classes I was taking and focus on that. And then a few months later, my boss said, you know what? We need someone to fulfill this role. It was the promotion I wanted, and you're not really qualified, but we'll just train you in the job on it anyway. And so I got the promotion I wanted without the classes I needed, without even trying to, because God, He provides the things that we need. Okay, I'm almost done here. So, sorry. One thing I would say to the young people is, you understand what you have. What a blessing the restored gospel is. It took me a really long time to realize that. I had the opportunity to go to Idaho recently to visit our members there. And somehow we got on the topic of business meetings, and I was thinking, those are the most boring meetings of the year, sorry. But they were saying, wait, in your business meetings, if you want to have a role, you can express that interest and you can use that to serve the Lord. They were like, that sounds so amazing, because they were used to a situation where they were just told everything they had to do, and if they didn't do it, then they were kind of felt like this shame. And they were like, what a blessing. And then they heard the songs of Zion, songs I heard like my whole lifetime, and they're like, these are the most amazing, beautiful songs. And I was like, oh my goodness, yeah, this is really cool. I didn't even know that. I mean, I didn't even realize it. And so, you know, even just last week, I had some missionaries from a different church visit me, and I was like praying about what I should talk about with them, and didn't feel like I should debate with them. So they got there, and I had my Songs of Zion. I was like, you guys ever heard of these songs? And they're like, no. So I told them about it, and we started singing the Songs of Zion together. They're like, these are so cool. We love these hymns. They're like, can we come back sometime? I was like, I'm probably not going to convert, but you're welcome back. They're like, all right, we'll come back. So they're coming back this week, so that's exciting. The last thing I would just say is, don't fake it. You can't fake it. There's no faking the Spirit of God working within you. You can't fake the Spirit of God. Some of the roles I have in church are very publicly visible, and so I can put up a front if I want to make it seem like I'm all spiritual and stuff. But what I've realized is when I try to go about it and I'm not taking that time to abide in the Spirit and inviting God's Spirit to direct me, they're no good. It hinders the ministry and the work that God's given me to do. There's a story in Luke about two sisters named Mary and Martha. Jesus goes to visit them, and one of the sisters, she's real busy. She's working. She's making bread, and she's like, what? The other sister, Mary, she's just sitting at the feet of Jesus and just listening to him and just taking in his words. And this sister, Martha, she's just like, Jesus, look at this girl. All she's doing is just sitting there. I'm doing all this work. And Jesus says to her, Martha, Martha, you are careful, or you're troubled about many things, but one thing is needful, and Mary hath chosen that good part, which shall not be taken from her. So don't forget, in all the things it's so great to have a wonderful desire to serve the Lord. Don't forget that one-on-one time, that personal relationship, to abide in Christ and allow His Spirit to abide in you, because that makes all the difference. And just know that God wants to direct your paths, and He has a plan for your life, and counsel with the Lord, and make the most of that liberty He's given you. And the last thing I'll leave with is in Galatians 5, later on in the chapter, it says, brethren, you've been called unto liberty. So because of what Christ did, we don't have to worry about working so hard to earn our salvation. Christ bought us liberty through what He did on the cross. But don't use your liberty for an occasion to the flesh. Don't use this freedom you've given just to say, I'm just going to do what I want to, relax and be all cool and just serve yourself, because that just leads to misery. It leads to temporary satisfaction that leads you down a path that pulls you away from the Lord. But instead, by love, serve one another. Use this freedom you have to serve others. And all the law is fulfilled in one word, that thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. And that's all I just wanted to share, is just that God just wants to have this most wonderful relationship with you at every stage of your life. Don't get too fixated on, it's easy to just say, oh, I just can't wait to get to the next stage. I just can't wait to get to the next stage. At every stage, there are opportunities to serve God. I wish I was back in high school when I had more friendships, when it was easier to meet people, to invite them to church. I didn't do that back then. And now I have a career with a small team. It's harder to meet a lot of people. Use every stage of your life. If you're single, then use that time to serve the Lord when you don't have to really be accountable to anyone. It's kind of nice sometimes, And may the Lord bless you. Just use that liberty to serve the Lord.
Hello, everybody. I'm so thankful to be here. My name is Brother Andrew Capone, and it is truly a blessing to be here and to witness from this spot. It is a privilege to be able to see this. I feel, my brothers and sisters have said it, unworthy before you. Because who am I that the Lord would look down on someone like me, ever so small in such a big world, and love me so much to pay the price that I so deserved. And He did that for each and every one of us. And so many thoughts go through my mind, but what the Lord has been showing me really recently is, where is your treasure? And I really had to find that out. And I have to say, I feel like I really lived a privileged life growing up where I wasn't exposed to many bad things, so to say. I was raised by goodly parents. I was raised in the gospel, and I knew the way. And I entered into a covenant with the Lord at a young age. And I had the freedom, I had that liberty, and I feel like I still do, to do those things. And I thank God for that. Those of you who know me, I'm really into sports. I've been a sports junkie my whole life, and I love them. But and I even got to play a form of professional baseball, which was a dream of mine growing up. So young people, if you have dreams, ambitions, we all have those, right? The Lord He knows that. And He's such a wonderful God that He realizes that, and He will bless you. But if you put Him first and it's in His will, it's even better, because I'm a living testimony of I've gone through that, where I got to accomplish those earthly goals. I got to accomplish the things I wanted to do. And it was a wonderful time. But you want to know what? There was always one thing missing. And even though I had the Lord on my side, there was still one thing missing, because my true joy, I knew, lied here. I knew there's nothing outside these walls that would ever satisfy me and give me the true joy that the full restored gospel of Jesus Christ has to offer to each and every one of us. And how often do we take that for granted? How often do we come in, listen to a sermon, go home, and then through the rest of the week, we just go about our daily business? Well, I'm a living testimony before you where I don't want to waste any more time. I see the young people up here, and I see the passion and the fire that they have them, and we're seeing something that the church has never seen before with the young men, the young women, and the unity. The Lord is calling us to unity, and I feel that very strongly, where we're seeing that. We're seeing more of the gifts, and we are trying to establish Zion. I think we're on the right path. Do I dare say that? I think we're on the right path. I feel it in my bones. I feel it in my spirit, and I see the pure love of Jesus Christ in each and every one of you. And the amount of joy that I feel, I can't express to you enough what a blessing it is. And even with my job situation lately, I want to tell you, I applied to so many jobs to get something to work around my baseball seasons. People said, you'll never get a job to work around your baseball seasons. Why would they hire you? And you have to say, see ya in a few months. Well, the Lord granted that to me and more. And you want to know how I got that job? We invited a family over for dinner after a Sunday. A family that we don't usually have over, but it was like a mutual friend. It was the hospitality. It was the pure love of Jesus Christ that we want to show to one another. Getting together more. That is the stuff we miss. And that is the stuff we need to bring back more and more. Because the more we get together, the more powerful we're going to be through the Lord Jesus Christ. And He blessed me with a job, not only to work around my baseball seasons, they gave me a raise when I came back. That doesn't happen. And it was nothing because I deserved it. It was because the Lord put me where He wanted me to be. Not only that, now they're accommodating me in missionary work. I've gotten called to do a lot of the work of the Lord this summer. Thank God. I had an injury lingering. He was slowing me down. Sometimes young people, He'll slow you down if He wants to use you, if you have that heart. And I pray that I would have that servant's heart before you, because I just want to serve the Lord with you, brothers and sisters. I want to have that heart, that soft servant's heart. I don't want my heart to be hard. I want the Lord to shape and mold me and use me how He wants me to. And I thank God for your support, and I thank God that He's still allowing me to do these things, and I'm looking forward to a summer and beyond full of blessings. And I had to go to my job, and I basically was going to quit it. I'm ready to leave it all behind. As the song says, I don't know about you brothers and sisters, but I'm ready to leave it all behind. I'm ready to leave it all behind to seek forth Zion. Blessed are those who shall come seek forth the Zion. And I'm ready to do that. And my question to you, brothers and sisters and friends, is, are you ready? May God bless you.